Today we've got a challenge unlike any other. We're diving into the heart of English football and embarking on an epic journey that could take years to complete. This is Bath City, a club in the Vanarama National League South, fighting hard to make their mark. But today we're taking the team all the way to the Premier League, and I mean all the way. From the depths of non-league to the heights of English football, and yes, we're aiming for the ultimate prize, the Premier League title. 5 promotions, that is right, 5. We'll need to climb through the National League, League 2, League 1, the Championship, and of course compete in the Premier League. And once we're there, it's not about survival, it's about actually winning it. No season caps, no time limits. We're going to go until Bath City are Premier League champions. Be sure to leave a like because this took a ton of time, and subscribe. Let's get into it. So then, this is going to be Bath City inside of the game. I do want to quickly say, if you do enjoy these longer rebuilds, please let me know in the comments, and at any point you want to carry on this rebuild to see the end products and also get the tactic we do use, you can find that on the Patreon in the link below, where you get all of this year's tactics and also all of my rebuild files. Anything you see posted is going to be on there. Now, as an actual club, I'm not going to be too harsh on them. Realistically, their reputation, training, youth facilities aren't going to be the best of the best. We're in the Vanarama National League South. So let's be realistic. I will say, as grounds go, I have seen worse, so I'm not too gutted about it. I think that's a good foundation, and hopefully throughout the rebuild we can improve the stadium. Now, the owners, they're enjoying life at the club, which is always a bonus. I'm not going to hide any fact. I don't know too many of the players. The only player that I've noticed stands out like a sore thumb is going to be Tilson, because he's actually a Sky Bet League 2 player. Now, for me, this team are predicted to finish 14th. If I have done my research properly, we will go and actually look at that right now, because I could be talking utter nonsense. I am not. They are predicting a finish of 14th. Now, realistically, I think with this tactic, I've gone incredibly sensible. I've gone very reserved because we're not a powerhouse in this league, and I think because of the way we've set up, we might not win the league right out, but I feel like we can get in the playoffs, and that's going to be the aim for the first season and build up from there. Now, of course, money-wise, we've essentially got nothing. We've got £1,000, so for the first few seasons, with however long it takes us to do, you are going to see a lot of players come in and a lot of players leave. So I'm only really going to talk about the big players, because otherwise we're going to have so many transfer windows where some of it doesn't really need to be talked about. Now, in terms of the first team, as I said, 4-3-3, nice and simple. We don't want to overcomplicate things too much. We're going into the games balanced as well to get a real feel. I am going to come out of the holiday sort of halfway through in the first season and see how we're doing, because then I can adapt the tactic to how the team sorts of needs. Now, I will say the wingers aren't horrific. Wilson looks quite good. The one worry I have got is, as you see in these leagues all the time, is you actually go by the age, we have got quite an aging squad in a lot of the regard, and a lot of them are our better players, so it is a little bit annoying to see, but that is lower league football. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to jump into season 1 of God knows how many today, and we are competing in 3 trophies, but realistically, the only one that I care about is this one. So we actually did make it into the playoff spots, and starting off in that semi-final, we are going to beat Worthing 3-0. So I will say, we've got a chance to go up in our first season. That would be absolute scenes. And thanks to a goal, and it is literally a 1-goal win, and it is going to be inside of 3 minutes. You can see right now, nice and direct over the top, we are going to gain promotion in season 1. That is right, boys and girls, not the most convincing. Obviously, Maidstone and Hampton and Richmond are going to be above us, but we are going to be promoted alongside of Maidstone, of course, there, which is a very, very big sort of success, because you can find yourselves quite stagnant down in these low leagues where you end up playing the same competition 5-6 times, but luckily for us, that's not happened. Now, in terms of player stats, we've not got too much to talk about really, apart from this man here, which is going to be Ruben Davies. He has come in, and I will say, a good Vanarama national sort of standard player. He has done incredibly well, and do you know what? As strikers go, apart from the 7 composure, which clearly didn't phase him, he has done incredibly well. Now, other than that, goalkeeper-wise, second most clean sheets. Although we didn't win it based off, without getting to the playoffs, we definitely deserve to be in the shout. Apart from that, I will say it's going to be 2 third-round exits against Charlton Athletic, who, again, let's just humble ourselves a little bit, are definitely the better team at the moment. We've only really done rebuilds with big teams this year, so saying that feels a little bit weird, but Dagenham and Redbridge, again, a team that are probably better than us at the moment. They do beat us on penalties, so at least it was a good game, but the main thing is we we have got promoted. Now, in terms of money, we've got 363k, which compared to the previous rebuilds we've done, seems like pennies, but it's not actually that bad, I don't think, for the league we're going in. But I have got next to no experience signing sort of cheap players or free players, so I am going to be listening to the scouts, to be honest, taking their advice, bringing in players they suggest. When we're at this stage of the rebuild, my main aim is to try and just bring in some experience to bolster us up the leagues, really. I mean, looking at this team, there are going to be players that instantly want to dip to go to another team, a higher league up, for example. But if we can keep this man Davies up front, that'll be a statement. Tilson would be ideal to keep. And also, let's just talk about this guy. He is 29, but Jack Batten has done a very, very good job this year. He's incredibly slow, but as centre-backs go, he is one of the better in the league, I believe. So, do you know what? We're going to take it. We've got some decent player stats. Looking by the goals, obviously it is going to be Davies who did carry the bulk load, but Scott Wilson with 14, 12 coming in there for Solomon, also 11 from Ewan. Realistically, we are going to try and keep our best performers, but depending on wage and interest from other clubs, you know how hard it is if you ever played in a league like this. Let's get into Season 2 transfers in a new league, a promotion already, and see what we can do. So the only player we do use is going to be Jacob Cook. He is going to go to Corby on the free. As you can see, didn't even play a single game, but considering the amount of people we could have lost, we've done well just to lose him. I think the best way to showcase this is not go through every player because we've got so many seasons to go and do. Again, this is my first time doing a rebuild like this, so please leave comments on how you think I could improve, especially in the long-term rebuilds. But realistically, none of these are massive names, so we're going to tell who done well based from the squad stats, aren't we? So you can see how many players we've brought in. We will do a count. We brought in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 new players into the team. Now, it is a lot of players to bring in, but with the amount of games we've got and the amount of improvement we had to do, we have to bring in players. And if you just feast your eyes down here, pretty much all of the players are, or in fact, all of the players are on loan or free signings. I put everything into the transfer budget, and I will say I'll pluck a player at random. We'll look at Harvest, for example. He's on £400 a week, so we're not talking about top players, but we've filled the team out, and I'm hoping that can at least keep us up here in the league. I'm not expecting anything, just to stay in the league. We will start off, of course, with the FA Cup, where unfortunately, on this occasion, we lose to Wrexham, which, to be fair, only a 1-0 loss is actually semi-decent. The English FA Trophy, we are going to lose again on penalties, this time to Forest Green, which I do feel is a little bit harsh because I think we could have beaten them. I've looked at the game stats and we were dominant, but we just couldn't quite scrape over the line. But in terms of the league, get ready because we have done back-to-back promotions, and this time, not only promotion, we have actually won the league. And I'm going to say it, it's not only down to him, but if we lose this guy, we're going to be in trouble. Now, I don't know how he's going to do in the next level of football, which of course is already Sky Bet League 2. I don't know how he's going to do in that league, but I will say we have done such a good job. Yes, we did lose 8 games, which is a fair few. We drew 7 as well, only 31 wins, but it's the most in the league. It's a very, very good return, and also clean sheets. This is going to be, I believe, one of the new signings who looks absolutely incredible but is on the older side, is Reece Charles Cook. He's going to pick up the most clean sheets, which is really, really good to see. In terms of assists, we have got no one really to talk about, but yeah, we've really got to give credit to Ruben because he has done such a good job, and as I said, instantly got us into Sky Bet League 2. Now, in terms of the actual stats, it is going to be a hard carry from Ruben Davies right now, and whether he wants to stay or whether he wants to go is going to be pretty much the entire hype of the next transfer window, but hopefully he will stay with us. 12 goals coming in for Ewan. Other than that, there's some pretty small numbers, but some of the players, like for example Solomon, done well when it comes to assists. Ewan Clark actually enjoyed a great season with 12 and 12, so that's good to see. And the players we brought in obviously played a decent part in helping us sort of, well, get back-to-back promotions. So although it was a lot of new faces to bring in, that's the approach I'm taking in this rebuild, is just stack out the squad, make sure we've got fit players, because if you look at the schedule here, boys and girls, I mean, you play a lot of games, you need to have good depth. But going into the next window, we have got, again, a reasonable budget of £521,000, which is very, very generous. I will say, now we're going into the actual real tough leagues, that's not a lot of money, because this is where you can start paying 200, 300k for players, which obviously we can't do. So again, I might go with the same strategy, sign cheap, and just try and see what we can get, because I very rarely do saves like this, and I do have a lot of fun when I do it, but I'm also still learning the correct approach. But so far, it's back-to-back promotions. I'm not going to question what I'm doing at the moment. Let's get into the next season. The tactic, by the way, I will showcase, is literally exactly the same. It might change when we go to Sky Bet League 2, but time will tell. Let's get into the next season. Right then, it is going to be a lot of new names brought in again. Still, some of these were from last year, but we have got a new goalkeeper coming in Teddy Sharman Lowe. He's played a ton of games for us, and I will say, has done okay. A 6.9 rating. I will say we have had players leave, but they're not actually on the transfers out at the moment. They are literally just waiting to be picked up by other clubs. These are players that are no longer good enough to be in the team. Now, I will say we have got some really exciting players. For example, Jamie Andrews is going to come in as not the most exciting. He's not like a João Neves, but he could be the Bath City João Neves. He comes in, he's quite versatile in midfield. He looks really, really good. And I will say, despite it stating he's a Vanarama national player, I actually really like the look of him. Another player, of course, is going to be Nelson. He comes in, he's quick. His composure is quite concerning, as it is literally 4. But I will say, I'm looking for these quick, nippy players, and we've gone down the entire list and tried to do that. Another player in Harrison Clark, a really, really good centre-back. Not the quickest, but the tackling's there, the fitness is there, and beggars can't be choosers. We are one of the relegation favourites in Sky Bet League 2, so to bring in an entire page of players here, and also a few new names down here, I am not going to complain. Realistically, I am signing people that I've probably never even watched in real life, so I am purely going off in-game statistics, in-game sort of attributes, and hoping what we can do. But we are now in Sky Bet League 2. This is where it gets really big, and I will be honest, a bit of me is nervous we might go right back down. So let's go over to the league table. We're going to do the league table last, because we might be going back to the Vanarama leagues. We're failing to beat teams like Portsmouth in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy. I don't know if that's a sign of things to come, but again, it's another loss on penalties. We really can't win on penalties. That might be our only chance of ever winning a competition. We need to improve. Brentford done what Brentford would expect to do. They smashed us 4-1. I'm not even annoyed. It's a very tough draw. And when it comes to Stevenage, I will say, you can see right now, we are going to lose 4-3. So at the end of the day, it's a bit of a closer game, but what matters is going to be the league table. Have we gone down? I don't want to look. I'm going to look in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we have not gone down. We have finished, you know, in the top half of the table, nearly in the top 10, only 1 point actually. In fact, you know what? Only real 2 points. We're 2 points off the playoffs. That's a very, very good season. Let's go and see what happened. Ruben Davies is still going strong. He is not the best striker in the league, but I'm going to use this guy until he no longer performs, because this guy is such a bagsman. Look at what he's done for us. 29, 32, 18. You can see he's slowly not being able to do as well as the leagues get tougher, but I'm going to keep him for next season unless he wants to go. Sharman Lowe, obviously our new goalkeeper, the second most amount of clean sheets. We have got players in here that are performing well, and to be honest, that's not an embarrassing season. We are literally 2 points off the playoffs, and I think maybe next year we can go for the playoffs. We're going to get a chance to strengthen again. I would imagine some teams are going to come in for our players, because we have put up quite a decent fight, but in terms of the losses, none of them are even a battering really, apart from the game against Crewe in a 3-1 loss. But we're playing some really good football. It's actually quite nice to see. Now, in terms of the finances, we have got 397,000, so about £100,000 less than what we had in the original entry to the Sky Bet League 2. So that's not nice to see. That is going to make it quite challenging, but let's go over and see what we can do. Of course, firstly, check out the goals. Ruben is going to rank it. Ellis Chapman comes in, 9 goals. Not too bad. Nelson, 7 and 13. Now, that is a player I would like to sign on the permanent, but with that sort of money, I mean, let's just see if it's even possible. Live on. Make the offer. Is he... We could probably do that. I'll do that, hopefully, and get back to you with a confirmation of that, because a lot of these players, for example, like Jaden, I would like to bring in. I like players that come in on loan, they show a little bit of what they can do. It might not be the most impressive set of stats, but you know they can hack this league to a certain degree. They can come in and improve. So let's get in to the next transfer window. I'm quite excited because I did not think we were going to be anywhere near the playoffs. Let's get in to the next season. Right then, I have thought very, very practically about this, and it honestly breaks my heart to say that the star man up front that has been bagging goals might not get too much game time this season, because I have put a ton of money in loan fees to bring in Ellis. Now, this guy from QPR, I will say, is a leading Sky Bet League 2 player, and he has scored 26 goals in the league alone. He looks incredible. He's quick, composure's there, the finishing's there. I will say, in terms of the wage, it was blessed, but in terms of the fees, it wasn't as nice. So therefore, we still have strengthened, but not as many players as other windows we've done. The likes of Oliver Tipman is going to come in as well. Another centre-back, quite young, 24 years of age. Again, these players I am signing based off their current form. So we are going to try and just progress naturally. When we get into the sort of championship, we're going to start recognising more names, but I'm honestly enjoying the lower league side of football. I don't do it enough in this game, I don't think, so let me know if you want to see it again, because it's quite nice signing people that you don't usually sign. For example, like this guy Nelson, we've got him on loan again, so we didn't sign him on the permanent because cash flow was a problem, but at least he's on loan again. It's a different way of playing Football Manager. I quite like it. Let's get in to our second shot at Sky Bet League 2 and see if we can make the playoffs. Well, our first cup final and our first loss, unfortunately, against Reading 3-2, but do you know what? At least we done well, and look who is here, the top goal scorer, none other than Ellis. Another loss in the second round, and this time it is going to be against Coventry in the Carabao Cup 2-1. I would like to make a bit of progress in the cup, but I think it's quite selfish to ask, considering I'm after a promotion every single year. First round, we are going to bail out against Bolton in the FA Cup, so the English Cups, apart from the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, didn't go too well. But what went very well is going to be Sky Bet League 2. We are going to get promoted and actually win the entire league, only losing 7 games, with a couple of them being a bit of a whitewash, but we are going to win 97 points, 3 points off the big 100, and it is going to be this man here. Ellis is going to be a big reason to why we were able to do it, alongside of the likes of Sharman, who has been actually, I believe, the most clean sheets in the entire league. So they're just 2 players that have played a big factor. Now, I am a little bit nervous because, yes, it's good to get promoted quite quickly. We're, 4 seasons in, if I'm not mistaken? But we're already at Sky Bet League 1 now, and if we don't have a big budget, I am saying a big budget of around about, well, we've had 500k before, so 1.5 million? It might be a big ask, but let's just go and see what we've got anyway. We have got, okay, 1.2. I will take that. I will take 1.2. It's not the 1.5, but it's the first big budget we've had, and I think with that money, we can go down the approach of good free agents on good wages, good loans, but then loans are temporary if you can't afford them afterwards. Loans are good, but they're also bad. There's a lot of questions to answer, but in terms of the squad, we can go and see again. This man needs to come in. Ellis, how much are you going to cost me? That would take up our entire budget, but you best know I will try my best, even if it means getting him on loan once again. That's the only downside to loaning players. They do so well, and then you lose them. The centre-back we brought in, by the way, at Vanarama level, 13 goals, I imagine, from my set pieces. 12 and 12, I mean, 12 and 12's decent. Coming in from Jacob there. Jamie not doing too bad. 15 assists from Ethan. Again, a player that I would bring in. He looks absolutely quality, but in terms of the money, how much? Okay, that is approachable, so we will try and bring him in. Now, in terms of the tactics, we have had a bit of a change, because what I noticed from the season before this, where we, failed to get the playoffs, we basically were dominating a lot of the games, but not scoring enough goals. Now, we have gone quite attacking, and I might tweak this again going into Sky Bet League 1, because we're going to be back to being the smaller team. But this tactic now is quite positive, literally positive. We've got inverted wingers, we've got Mazzalas, we've got box-to-boxers, we've got attacking wing-backs. We're basically playing like Pep. We're full sending this. So let's get into the next season. We've got tons of strengthening to do, and for the first time, a decent budget. So a sideline I'm going to talk about is going to be Harley Mills. He comes in for a total of around 250k. He picks up 17 assists in his first season. He's currently a Sky Bet League 2 player, and we are in Sky Bet League 1, I am aware, but just based off the attacking attributes, that's what I'm basing it on. We can work on his tackling, but going forward, he is an absolute joy. enjoy. Now, in terms of other players, we have gone with the loan approach once again, and we've actually loaned someone in from Roma, so we've got a little bit of pull right now. We really have got a bit of pull. He's a decent backup striker who might even actually get some first team. He didn't really. He did pick up 3 goals, but he was available with us paying literally £0 to have him. It made sense to at least give him some game time, so we're going to welcome him in. We also are going to sign Carell. He comes in as a very, very, very good centre-back. By far, probably our best centre-back now. Incredible ball player. So hopefully he has done a good job. 6.94, I'll happily take it. You've also got a load of other sort of loans coming in. You've got the likes of Lucas Pitt coming in from Derby, another centre-back, because we are in a bit of a centre-back crisis, I will be honest. We've also got Harry coming in from Derby as well. A few of the Derby lads coming on over, mainly for backup, but of course, I'm a big fan of stacking out my team. But this is our first season in Sky Bet League 1. I don't know what to think of it. I don't know what I'm going to expect. Tony, by the way, Tony Springer is a big player I nearly missed out, who was one of our best performers. 17 goals and 6 assists. A great season from him. I don't know what to expect because we've brought in some good players here, but a bit of me's thinking we might struggle. Let's go and see. Well, I can't quite believe it because I was not genuinely, I promise I was not expecting this. We are going to be promoted instantly. That is some McKenna-like stuff, that is. This time from Sky Bet, I mean, we're promoted. We're up into the championship already. This is going to be some video now because it actually makes the game harder when you get promoted this quickly. Now, in terms of stats, apart from the likes of, well, Harley Mills, the man we discussed, who did get the most assists, Jamie Andrews in 4th place as well, the player who actually I called a backup, was one of the best performers. No one else really was in the mix, so I will be honest, I think it was more of a sloppy season from other players. Now, you can see here right now, promoted alongside of Middlesbrough, the big boys going up. We did lose 11 games and 7 draws, which makes me feel a little bit like, did I actually want this? Would I rather have a good season but maybe get one more year to build a team? And maybe I am thinking that because when you're losing 11 games in this league, it makes you worry about the championship. The championship isn't an easy ride. There's big teams in that championship, but who am I to complain? The rest of the cups, I will be honest, apart from the Carabao Cup, a big improvement when we get all the way to the quarterfinals where we then face Man City, which I'm not even going to talk about because we've got no chance of beating them. The Bristol Street Motors Trophy, we go out to an under-21 team on penalties, but it is West Ham. They've probably got some serious ballers. And the FA Cup, we are going to lose to Wimbledon, which, again, maybe we should be beating them right now, but at the end of the day, my main focus is set on Sky Bet League 1. Well, Sky Bet Championship. We're here for 1 year. Absolutely incredible. Now, the one thing, and I'm going to get a live reaction to this, I'm expecting big money here because we can't go into this with less than 5 million. Okay, we are, aren't we? We're going in with 3.7. Maybe I'm asking for too much, but a promotion instantly is great. But when you've got this sort of money and you look at our team, and I'm not sending any digs at these players, but these players are going to get chewed and spat out in this team. They really, really are. We've got decent players, but the likes of Springer, for example, are players that I need to try and sign on the permanent. There's no guarantee there, but at the end of the day, looking at it as a whole, this is a man we've not even discussed. You can actually see he's one of our own, one of Bath City's own, come in and scored 11 goals in Sky Bet League 1. His first real competitive sort of chance in a league. He's done such a good job and actually is our top goal scorer. So hopefully he can carry on developing. That is going to be the main aim, but of course that is also a big ask. Ruben Davies has dropped off a fair bit. I think his peak was probably maybe Sky Bet League 2 was pretty much his highest level. He can now probably be sold, and a lot of these players can be sold. Realistically, we've got a lot of lower ability players who are either on the older side or just aren't really cut out for this level of football. The Sky Bet Championship is... some say it's the hardest league in the world, and going in with this team and a budget of 3.7 million, I don't want to sound negative, but I do honestly feel like we might be in a touch of bother. The main aim is to survive that league for the first season, I will be honest, but if you are enjoying, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It's going pretty well so far. Let's get into the next season and a bit of championship football. Right, I have gone with some free agents, and some of them are going to be on the older side because I have backed experience. Our first year in the championship, I want players that have played at a decent level and currently are at championship level to try and keep us in the team. One of them is going to be DeWitt. He comes in, he is 32, but I will say he is literally a godsend because he can play centre-back anywhere across the left-hand side, and he's quite well-rounded. A bit of a James Milner, a Dutch James Milner. He drops a 6.78, he covers a lot of games as well. That's not a bad signing in my opinion. We then go for the likes of Kofi Barmer. He comes in, again, a championship player, an incredible pretty much 5 out of 5 star player, and again he's on a fair bob, 20.5k, but he is probably one of our standout players. He drops above a 7 rating, so again, in my opinion, great business. Josh Bowler, again a player who didn't necessarily play loads of sort of important moments, but he played a lot of games, stayed fit, which is the big thing, and he's not even a championship player. He's actually a Sky Bet League 1 player, but if you look at him, he's got the pace, he's got the agility. Yes, he's on the older side, but again, I am not afraid to sign older players to keep us in the league. The likes of Jack Bycroft, for example, is another one. A goalkeeper, a backup goalkeeper. Last season, we had 2 injuries to our goalkeepers, so I'm making sure we've got enough keepers signed up. We also got the likes of Gonzalo. He is going to come in at right back. Actually favours an inverted role, but we're not playing inverted wing backs in a style like this. Incredible attributes when it comes to the mental. He is 33, but again, drops a decent rating, and that story does go on. Alfie Dorrington, obviously an exception, another incredible centre-back who is going to be on loan from Tottenham. You probably have heard of him. You should have done. He's absolutely quality. 6.89 when it comes to the Premier League. The Championship. Let's just calm ourselves down. The Championship. So again, a player like this might be approachable if we've got a decent budget, but realistically, that is going to be our window. I will also go and show you, we have got this lad coming in from Norwich, 2029. He is going to be joining pretty soon. You can see right now, he did come in and actually play a few games. 16 games, 6.94. I'm happy he's joining. He looks pretty decent, and he is only 24. But it's all right having a decent transfer window. What were the results like? Well, the FA Cup, we're going to be facing another early exit. We're going to have this for a long time, guys. We are going to lose to Aston Villa by 4 goals. Second round of the Carabao Cup, we are going to lose to Wolves. Do you know what? It's a very close game, 3-2. But again, we're going to do the blind reaction. We're going to click competitions, and I'm going to hope we're not relegated. Okay, I mean, that is a great season. 9th place. Again, not too many points off the playoff spots. Sheffield and Luton are going to be promoted, which is, you know, quite nice to see. Who's going down? Salford, they're in here already. Okay, Swansea, Watford, some teams going down. I like to look at who's going down because we can steal their players. Now, in terms of the Sky Bet Championship, I will go over and show you. We actually, well, 17-17, that is very interesting, and 12 losses. In terms of our players, we have got, let me make sure of that. We have got literally no players to talk about, and I was expecting this. I was not expecting a season where we've got standout players because our players probably aren't at this level. We've got a lot of new players that are at that level, but they're not top players at this level, if that makes sense. Now, going over to the goals, this is concerning because our top goal scorer scored 13 goals, and it is going to be Stephen Edwards on loan from Bristol City. As you can see, 31 appearances, 11 goals. It's not ideal. In fact, Josh Bowler picks up 8, 7 coming in from Bruno. I mean, you can't really get too excited about squad stats like this. I think, and I'm going to say it, I'm going to look at the schedule. Oh yeah, I'm looking for 0-0s, 1-1s. I can already spot quite a fair few of them. A 4-0 loss there. That's not nice to see. A lot of losses. I'm going to say it. I don't want to put a damper on it, but I think this is a bit of a fluky season. I don't think this is really a well-deserved top 10 finish. But regardless, we stayed up. That's the main aim. That's all I care about this season. Finance-wise, better. Nearly £8 million to go into the next season, another run of the Championship. And I'm looking at this team, and I think it's obvious where we need to improve. It would be with the goal scorers, right? It would be with the goal scorers. Yes, we can score the odd goal here or there, but realistically, we need to improve a little bit more. Simple as that. So one of our first paid outgoings is going to be Gonzalo Montiel. Now, if you have heard of this guy, it was the guy we picked up on the free last year. He goes to the Argentinian League, actually. No, he don't go to the Premier League. Oh, the Argentinian Premier League. Okay, I was freaking out right then. That would have been some statement. I will say he did actually play a fair few games for us, but obviously he fancies a move back to Argentina, so it is what it is. At least we turned some profit. We have gone out and signed a nice mixture of players. Again, a ton more players did leave, but their contracts are expired. They've not been taken yet, so that's why they're not on the transfers out. Our first big signing is going to be this guy, Popov. He is going to come in as a decent Sky Bet Championship player. He's 20 years of age from Chernomore. He come in for 1.4 million. He dropped to 6.84, but he is one for the future. A rapid centre-back with 20 determination. Now, he wasn't just the only player we brought in. We also spent 500k on this fantastic goalkeeper, the one we did show you, just to showcase the value and his actual attributes. He is a serious player. We also are going to loan the likes of Oswald. He comes in, he is so versatile. Again, James Milner vibes, 29 years of age. He comes in, plays a load of games, 12 assists, 9 goals. He does pretty much what you'd expect and probably a little bit more. We then go and pick up Aladdin. He comes in as a bit of a future left back, hopefully. Important that we're not only getting depth, but also the occasional player has to be young, because we are going to be here for quite some time, so it is very important. Other than that, another player which I need to show you these collection of players. This guy here looks nuts. He is on loan from Arsenal. He is a wonder kid. Now, we'll never be able to afford him, but I'm going to be honest, I think I've done well, but a bit of me is a little bit worried, because when you see the next player as well, I think we might have gone short-term success, long-term pain, because I think the team that we've assembled can get us promoted from the Championship in this season. But then we're going to be in the Premier League without these players. I mean, this guy is an incredible right back at 22. You've also got the likes of Aaron Moore. He comes in and he looks nuts. He looks absolutely incredible. Drops a 7.12, and it's all la-di-da. It's brilliant. But if we do get promoted, we're not going to be able to afford him unless Bath City have got a blank checkbook. So a lot of these players, I think, are short-term. Someone I had to pick up, by the way, because I could, was Scott McTominay. I had to bring him in. As a United fan, I miss the guy. I had to get him in. He comes in and actually does quite well. 6.97, 3 goals, 2 assists. He's not on that much per week either. And really, we have gone with some big players. Tom Dixon from Chelsea as well, another incredible future player for midfield. He played 36 games for us, dropped to 7.15. We're developing all the teams, you know, all of their wonder kids for them, but I'm hoping a bit of me's torn. I want to get promoted, but I don't at the same time. Let's just see what happened. What happened is what I thought would happen. It is going to be promotion, and it's not just promotion, it is champion winners. And I will say it is tied on points between us and Fulham. Sunderland also very close right there. And again, Andre Silva, who I will be honest, I was not expecting him to do that well. I did not think he would be the reason we do get promoted, but he comes in and scores 24 goals in the league, which is really impressive. We've got Paul coming in there with the second average rating. Again, the left back we signed for the future. We've got Caleb Anson with the clean sheets, the new goalkeeper. That's a good sign because he is one of our own. But here you go, assists. You got Oswald, the player we brought in, the James Milner as well. It's nice to see that players that we actually own are the key players. Now, don't get me wrong, the loan players definitely played a part because I can just guarantee they did. But what's interesting, we've suddenly been able to also compete in cups to a decent level. 2 quarterfinals, this time against Villa. Yes, it's a loss, but it's none of this first round exit, you know. It is quite good stages. Against United, quarterfinals, only a 2-0. They're quite humble losses. They're not batterings. They're pretty okay losses. Now, in terms of the squad, we can go and see 29 goals from Andre Silva, 19 for Bruno, and again, amazing. But 33 and 33. Short term okay. We've got a big project on our hands though, I can tell you that for free. We then drop down to 17 coming in there for Jose, which is okay. 11 for Oswald, Aaron Moore with 5, Tom Dixon with 4. And assist wise, we've got a fair few players. 3 players with 10 plus assists, which is pretty decent at this level. And on paper, you look at this team and you can see why it won the championship, but leave a comment now. Do you think that team can stay in the Premier League? Because I don't. So let's go and see how much money we've got. We've got 37 million, which I will be honest, is incredibly generous. But considering that is literally probably one of these players, for example, Abeng, he is 39 million. Now, I know we can't go in with that mindset. We can't go in and instantly have a world-class team. But 30 odd million gets you virtually nowhere in football now. yeah, it doesn't get you very far. So I'm going to spend a long time researching some players that the scouts have recommended, use some websites as well, and I'm going to try and just survive. That's got to be the aim. I'm not expecting any miracles. It is all about survival because we are already in the big leagues. That is a big achievement. Right, I've made one of the biggest decisions you're going to see in this rebuild right now, because one of the big positions of a Premier League team is a goalkeeper. Our goalkeeper was good, but he was nowhere near Premier League quality. This guy is. He's already one of the better Premier League goalkeepers. He come in from Flamingo, but he cost me an absolute ton. He cost me a fortune, and a lot of it was done in installments, but regardless, we can't bankrupt the club, so we are going to have to rein in with the rest of the spending. But I just wanted to go in with a goalkeeper that isn't going to be exploited, and this guy won't. We do recover some of the costs. Again, this guy, Carell, obviously we picked him up here for 55k. We sell him for 3.9 million. So a little bit of money put back into the club. But every other transfer is going to be a free transfer. And we've got some big names, okay? Now, I will say I've stacked out the midfield because we play three midfielders. We also need depth. First up is going to be this man here. Of course, coming in, that is going to be Benessa. He comes in as a championship player, but this guy has played for Madrid, AC Milan, Arsenal. He's played for some pretty big teams. He come in and dropped a 6.78, which, to be honest, I will take. He's got the experience, and hopefully that kept us in the Premier League. We are also going to welcome in Z Carlos, for multiple reasons. Versatility, he's good for backup, and his wage is quite low. He only played 19 games, but again, for another player to add into the team, I'll happily take it. We are then going to go over and turn to Can Bosdogan, but so you say that. He comes in as an actual starting sort of player for us. He is old, he's 31, let's not sugarcoat it, but his value, 43 to 55 million. Attributes are incredibly well-rounded, and again, 6.75 with 6 goals and 3 assists. That is a lot better than what our current midfield players would do. A name that I never thought I'd see at Bath City is going to be Manu Kone. Now, he comes in on the free, and you could argue tied with the goalkeeper, probably our biggest player at the club at the moment. He comes in, 11 goals, 7 assists, drops a 6.97. Again, played for Roma, played for Gladbach, Toulouse as well, some pretty big teams, and the guy is essentially, he's a Hullet figure. He's so well-rounded, and yes, he is 31, but we're Bath City in our first season. Let's be realistic. We also are going to turn to Mattia. He comes in for a backup striker, but apparently, well, he did. He got 18 goals, so I imagine he played quite a fair few. He's not the quickest, but the finishing and composure is there. Not on too much per week either. And also, lastly, Federico, as another central midfield player. He played 28 games, not as sort of well-rounded as Kone, but he's still a good option. And the only downside to this lad is that money per week. But one thing that I hope you've been looking at is the value of these players. This player is valued at 43 million. I think Kone's still got good value. 45 million. The likes of Benessa is even 12 million. These players we're not spending money on. So if we ever want to sell them, we're going to be profiting. Now, we did have some names leave on the free as well. I'm not going to pay too much attention apart from the one I did display, but realistically, incredibly confident with these players, especially the midfield and the striker. And with this lad in goal, I think there's a chance we stay up. I think it will be pretty close, but let's go and see. Firstly, we're going to go over the cups, and we are going back to being knocked out in the third round, this time against United. Do you know what? As long as we've stayed up in the Premier League, I will not have any judgment for these cups. Sure, I don't have any judgment in the cups because we actually go out to Luton in the second round of the Carabao Cup. But this time, let's go over and check the Premier League. I'm going to let you look first as well for a few seconds. You can have your laughs, I can imagine. Okay, 9th place I will take. I mean, how close are we talking? We have got we've got a 20-point advantage before we get to the relegation zone, so we are actually quite comfortable in the Prem. Who won the Prem this year again? Chelsea won the Prem, tied with Manchester United. That's realistic. And we've got a player here in the top. We've got a player here in the top goal scorers and assists. This guy here, this is the player we brought in literally for literally on the free. He has come in as the top assister in the Premier League, and also Mattia, the guy who I called a backup striker. I need to stop doing that. Is up there with some of the best, Florian Wirtz and Erling Haaland. He's He's only 5 goals off Erling Haaland. What a signing that was, by the way, and cost me literally nothing. So a great bit of business. We're in the top 10 of the Premier League. That is one incredible season. Now, I can only imagine in terms of stats, yeah, it's not going to be pretty. I'm not going to waste too much time. We're not going to have players with tons of goals, apart from Mattia and Kone, and also Scott McTominay, who of course has played in the Prem before. But that is an incredible season. I do need to keep pinching myself and reminding myself that at the end of the day, these results are really, really good, but probably a better way to show you is this. Yeah, let me just highlight people that are 25 and over. Yeah. All of these players are 25 and over, so if you do 30 and over as well, it still is quite bad. It is pretty much... Can I click on one of these players? It is pretty much all of these players here. So all of these players here are 30 over. It's pretty much half the team, but for survival, we've done quite well. And what I'm hoping this sort of approach does is we stay in the Prem, we get more money, we can invest in youth. That's the mindset. We're going to have 60 million? 74. Yeah, let's get into the next window. 74 million. What's the debts looking like? Oh, we are calm. Do you know what? Let's go and spend. Right, I've spent big on what I like to call the left back, hopefully. We are going to welcome in Paul Effiong. I believe so you say that. He is going to come in from QPR. He comes in for 30 million and has a great first season. He is 22. He is rapid, good stamina, good tackling, good crossing. I am hoping, despite the good Sky Bet League 1 worry in ability, he can hit that potential quite quickly because there is a player in there. And I will say it's not the only time, the only situation we've signed a big name. Now, we can go over again. Unfortunately, you are going to see some more players depart on the next page. We also are going to welcome in Anthony Elanga. He is a championship player at the moment, but again, quick, dribbling, agility. He has got it all. He has played in the Prem before, and he comes in and actually does quite well. 8 goals, 4 assists. He is our best left wing by quite some distance, so he did play a ton of games in the Prem. And on this page again, we are going to welcome in Moises, let me how you say that. He's going to come in from Villarreal. He comes in for a total of 8 million. He doesn't do too much in his first season. He does drop a decent average rating, but he didn't really set the league alight. But again, very similar reason to Elanga. I want the players that are nippy, that have got good agility, that are quick, that have got a good cross on them, and the 20 determination. You literally can't get any better. It's an incredible player for the future. And it gets better. The next page, apart from losing Scott McTominay, which is never nice to see, we are also going to welcome in some free agents. Now, for the experience and the experience only, we are going to welcome in a 36-year-old Pau Torres. Again, to keep us up into the Premier League for another season. I do not mind paying his wages for 1 year. So that is, again, a really, really big name. We also pick up one that's not just here for a year, but hopefully here for the entire rebuild, Arda Güler on the free. Now, he isn't a lot of money per week. He's on 81k a week, but he comes in 11 goals, 12 assists. He is now our star player, an incredible player, great technical, great mental, great physical attributes. He is a serious baller and now plays for Bath City. We are then going to go over and pick up the likes of Leonardo. He comes in as a good sort of backup centre-back. I'm not going to get into the first team too many times. Not going to talk about him too much, but he was available. I thought we'll pick him up. We are then going to go over and actually sign the guy who was on loan. Now, we do spend big. We spend 32 million, and he has sort of somewhat paid back with 9 assists. But this guy is going to be our right back. So that means hopefully the right back for the entire video, because he better be, because he cost me a sweet penny. Now, next up, we are going to have, this is a name to say, it is going to be Ubereni. Ubereni is going to come in from AS Roma. As you can see, he comes in for 15 million, drops above a 7, 5 assists, 2 goals, and again, is a very good promising midfield player. Now, this is the first window, apart from Pau Torres maybe, but we have actually had a real big attraction on signing younger players for the future, which is a good sign that the rebuild's going quite well, because we're already into the Premier League. We've stayed up once. We're trying to go again and improve, or at least stay in the Premier League. And we're already building a team for the future. This rebuild is going almost too well. There might be a drop-off, though, because you've got to think we're now playing in the Europa Conference League, which is added games. Although, let's face it, we're probably going to go out in the first round, so let's see what happened. In the Cups, our best display in a cup, I believe, in a big cup, the FA Cup, we actually get all the way to the semi-finals, and we weren't far off getting to the final. Only a 1-0 loss against City. World Cup, not as smooth, but it's a penalty loss against Newcastle. We're not getting battered anymore. We're improving. I'm going to say it, and I'm going to have the game on slow-mo so you can really process it. This is the Europa Conference League final. Yeah, we got to the final, and we actually go 1-0 up with Arda Güler. The Europa Conference League final. We're in the Europa Conference League final. It is mental to say. With Bath City, I was not expecting it. Unfortunately, it wasn't an easy game, I will be honest, because no game is easy when you're Bath City. They are going to tie it up inside of 40 minutes, and I can't believe I'm going to use these words. We go on to win the game in the first half and win a European trophy with Bath City, and it is going to be Alanga. That's incredible. Yeah, I can't quite believe it. We have won the Europa Conference League, and I'll be honest, who have we beaten? I mean, maybe not the best team there in the semis, maybe not the best team there in the quarters. Molde are a decent team. I mean, I know it's not the toughest conference or the Europa competition, but it's still good. If we've stayed up in the Prem, this is a remarkable seat. Oh my, we've improved. We are now 7th in the Premier League, only 9 losses in the league. We're not that many points off top 4. That's incredible. What a season. This man again in Mattia is going to be the 3rd top goal scorer. He's a player that I wasn't even expecting to do that well. Arda Güler, joint the most amount of assists. Really, really good. Other than that, no many real standout players in our team. But we've won the Europa Conference League. We have won the Premier League. Obviously, the Europa Conference League is great, but the video challenge is to win the Prem, so it sort of means nothing at the same time. Going over to the squad, we are going to see 33 goals from Mattia, 21 from Alanga, 20 for Güler, 10 for Kone. Now this is why we're winning trophies. We've got players in the 20s and more than one. We've got 3 players in the 20s. We've got a lot of players with good amounts of assists, and this team is now working. This team is working. You can see here, we did actually lock in 3 players. The wingbacks and the DM, they actually done quite okay, but to showcase this tactic and this team right now, we are actually looking at this as our best team. Güler out on the right, Alanga on the left, Mosconi up front, Kone, Rendondo, that's how you say that. Can gets into DM still. The wingbacks actually that we locked in are now our official best wingbacks, which is really good to see because they're still quite young. But that is an incredible season. Surely the money's going to be great again. It is great again. 51 million to go into the next season. Let's waste no time. We're going to carry on improving. I mean, I can't believe it. I'm going to quickly look at it. Club info, overview. I can't believe that's in there. So then just the 2 signings in this window because I didn't want to spend. The first player cost me, what, 6.7 million. He played a very good amount of games, dropped to 6.71. He was locked in for the Premier League games and being brought out to rest for the Cup. I will make that very honest. The physical stats, I will say, are very, very good. Good agility, good natural fitness. He's also quite quick, good tackling. But the main reason, again, one, he is classed as a wonder kid, or was. He also can play in 4 positions, which is very, very helpful. He didn't cost me a lot of money, and in fact the last signing is going to be Eric Blartman. Now this is the reason I signed 2 players, because he cost me 26 million, as you can see, but he's returned 17 goals in his first season at the age of 23. Now long term, I want to play a 4-2-4 because there's a lot of good upcoming wonder kid strikers that could easily get 25 goals each per season. There's some real good strikers, and this is one of them for the future. He is rapid, 17 composure, great finishing, great first touch, good determination, good flair, and he is only 23. That is a striker for the future. But of course, less signings. We did lose people as well. As you can see, a couple more players here. Are we going to improve on 7th? It's a big ask because we're then talking about getting into the top 6. Are we going to do that? Let's go and find out. What I'm going to point out is we are apparently incredibly good in European competitions. We don't win it, but we get all the way to the semi-final of the Europa League, where unfortunately we do lose to Hoffenheim, but it's only by 1 goal. We would have been facing Napoli. We have gone back to the early exits in the FA Cup though, sadly, this time a 1-0 loss against Brentford. Cup, it is going to be an early exit, but a close game against Man City, which we are going to go out on penalties, so far, 0 trophies. Have we won the Premier League? We haven't, and oh boy, we have dropped 7 places. Now, this is the moment in the rebuild where this video either ends next season because we bounce back magically, or we go on till season 28. I believe this is season 10 at the moment. We have dropped 7 places. We only won 9 games. We lost 15 games. A lot of them are kind of close, but the wins, a lot of them are against weak teams as well. Eric Blattman is going to be 4th when it comes to the goal scores. It's not a great season. I don't want to spend too much really going over this because, to be honest, it is very, very ugly. I can only imagine. Do you know what? It's not even a drop-off in terms of goals, really. This tells me maybe our defence is the issue. 9th worst in both categories, so it's not a clear indicator. That's really tough to take that because it is a literal 7th place drop. A real big drop. No other trophies won. No finals reached. Compared to last season, maybe we didn't sign enough players. We let too many players go. The squad was a bit smaller, maybe. Tactics-wise, I still think we've got a decent-looking squad. I mean, we've got a new striker up there. We've got a good bench, but maybe it wasn't enough. Have we got any money? We've got 53 million again. I think we're going to fast-track this season, guys. Don't pay too much attention to it because that's ugly. That's not a good season. You know what? It's not getting worse because he is gone, but you can tell some of these players are getting too old now because Manu Kone is going to be going to the Saudi League where he does play a fair few games. What's he on per week? 72 grand. He didn't go for the money, really. He was on a good wage here, but it's quite worrying because now we're seeing these players that were putting in the shifts. It's now time for them to move on. Then signing 1, we are going to add depth into the midfield and pick up Justin Lerma. He's going to come in from West Ham for 6.7 million. He plays 21 games, drops above a 7 rating, 4 goals as well. He didn't set the league alight, but do you know what? One of our weaknesses last season, looking at it, was that midfield. Injury, injury, injury. No one really shown or sort of stood out too much either. So that's where I put a bit of the money. I didn't want to do it because I said that I signed the right back, but I think this guy is the right back. £9 million, 6 assists, 7.11 average rating, and just take a second to look at him. 15 acceleration, 16 pace, great stamina. Tackling's the only weakness that we can work on. 16 crossing. We're now playing in a system that has very attacking wing backs. This is perfect. We now probably have one of the better right back lineups in the entire league. We have 2 incredible players that are both pretty young. We are also going to go and spend a fair bit of money bringing in the likes of David. He comes in for 21 million, drops a 6.88, and because he can play 3 positions, and I will say he can play in any of them, he played in all 3 in this rebuild, in this season, he gets a lot of game time, and I will be honest with you, he is probably up there with our best left back and our best centre back, so he can pretty much play when he wants. He's only 25, he's still got a little bit of potential in the tank, and I just think, as players go, you don't find many more versatile, and just as a little backup option for 1.4 million, we are going to pick up Vitor Roque, and he's not developed that well in this save. He only scored 2 goals for us the entire season, but he's still got the attributes: 15 acceleration, great composure, great finishing, great dribbling. Yes, he is 30 now, but for 1.4 million, you're not going to get many better backups, and once again, if he really is that bad, I can times 20 my money, so it's not the end of the world. And I do think with the players that we have brought in now, 4 big names, we've lost a big name in Kone, the other ones aren't really that deep, but 4 big names, this is where it's crunch time, because if we keep falling down the Premier League, this rebuild, the rebuild's going to need a rebuild. The quarter-final is going to be where we reach again in the FA Cup. This time we're going to lose to Fulham 2-1. That's not ideal. And another quarter-final exit, this time in the Carabao Cup, another 1-0 loss, this time against Manchester United. We can't quite get to grips with winning one of those, can we? But have we got to grips with a top 10 Premier League finish? Yes, we have. Actually, back to where we belong, in 7th place, meaning we are going to be qualified for the Conference League again. Not that I'm not really that fussed about it, to be honest, but a lot better, 10 more wins than last season, a 5-0 win over Arsenal there. We're beating United, we're beating City, we're beating Villa, we're beating West Ham, we're beating some of the big teams, and again, we are now only, well, minuscule. We are literally, 6 points? 6 points off that top 4. Blattman comes in, 2nd top goal scorer. We have got our goalkeeper coming in, by the way, who is still playing very, very well. The captain of the team, 2nd most amount of clean sheets behind Noah Atabolu for Arsenal. at least we've got players back in the stats now, because before it was looking pretty ugly. But as a squad, once again, we can go over and see, not as good as last season, even though we finished better in the league. Eric Blattman with 28, 14 for Gula, Alanga with 9, 6 for Oswald, who has been, by the way, a bit of a gem of the rebuild. Doesn't get much credit, but incredibly versatile, but he's 33, so probably his last season. Assist-wise, again, very impressive. Arda Gula being quite consistent from the get-go. The best player based off stats is actually going to be Justin Lerma, but he didn't play all the games from the start. He was a sub-player as well, so I'm going to give it to Eric Blattman, because he has played a lot of games and done very well. Now, looking at this team, let's look at it, shall we? Because eventually I want to switch this and have this. I want to switch this and have 2 players like that, still have Arda Gula like this, have inverted wingers, and play a 2 up top system. Now, that would mean I can also drop the box to box, and we can have sort of two DMs to protect the back line, attacking wingers, attacking wing backs, 2 strikers, but that does mean that we spend on a striker. Now, there's tons of good young strikers in this game, because we are in 2034, but they cost about 40 million each. Are we going to have anywhere near 40 million? We have got it. We've got 55 million, but that would be quite risky, signing 1 player with all your budget. So we're going to have to be sensible, but at least we're back into the top 7. Let's cue the next season. If you are still watching at this point, by the way, thank you for being at this part of the video, because it has been one long video to record. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let's carry on. Again, the video doesn't end until we win the Prem. Well, our first signing is going to be one more centre-back coming in. It is going to be Hussein Khalid. He comes in 26 years of age. He comes in for 22 million, drops above a 7 rating, 4 goals, 1 assist. And we have now got, I want to say, 4 centre-backs that I would class as Premier League winning standard. He looks absolutely incredible. As long as you play him next to a quicker centre-back, he is completely fine. Now, I've taken a gamble because I said the strikers were expensive, and they were. I will quickly showcase this guy because we did pay for him. He comes in from Corinthian, I believe it is, for 16 million. That said 16.2 million. He is cooked. 23 goals, 13 assists, 7.42. Someone that's actually benefited from us playing that 4-2-4 because he was playing on the left-hand side. If you look at him, he is probably one of the better wingers in the league. He's quick, good balance, good jumping, good composure, good determination, good flair, good off the ball work, good finishing, good dribbling. He is an all-round good player. But because we spent money on him, and that is my decision, I have taken a gamble and gone with a free signing to partner of a striker. Now, I've not seen how he's done, so we're going to look at this together. It's gone okay. I mean, what? It's not bad. It's a goal every other game. It's actually quite good. 12 assists, 7.12. I signed him because he, well, not because he was only free, because the wage is outrageous, but he's got good acceleration, he's got the pace, the finishing and composure was great, and I just think he worked really well, and it meant that I could actually afford to get the likes of Khalid over the line, and also Ruggiero? I don't know how to say that. You know who I'm on about. Him. It means I could get him over the line, so it might be a gamble, and I'm worrying it might not have paid off, but realistically, only time's going to tell. Sadly, we are going to lose a bit of a club legend in Z Carlos. He has been here, I say a bit of a club legend, 4 years, but, you know, he's been here for a long time. He's seen it all with Bath City, but let's get into, is this season 12, I believe, and let's see what we can do. Well, once again, I've impressed myself in the European competitions. In the Europa League, we get all the way to the final, and it's not an embarrassing loss. We only lose by 2 goals to Tottenham. To get to the final, we battered Anderlecht, who are no small team. We also beat AS Roma 5-2, and also we've got a turnover Bayer Leverkusen. We're one of the best teams in the game. But you wouldn't think that looking at a 4th round exit against Newcastle. And have we actually ever won a penalty shootout? I don't think we have. Again, when it comes to the FA Cup, we can't do these competitions. We are going to lose to West Ham 1-0, which leaves the Premier League and the Premier League only, and we've got a new formation, a new approach to the game. It's going to be risky. Let's go and find... Okay, I was quietly confident based off the Ruggiero signing, but we are 2nd place in the Premier League. Yes, I will be honest, we are... With so many points behind Man City, it is actually quite worrying, but we are in second place, which is a big improvement. 5 places, which means we're also in the Champions League. We have got 2 players in Blattman and Ruggiero in second and fourth of the goals going in. Our goalkeeper, the 4th most clean sheets. And also, we've got 2 players joint third with the most assists. So we are up there. But Man City have got Erling Haaland, who is a monster. They've got Gabriel Mech, who is a monster. They've also got this guy who I guarantee, yeah, why not? 5 out of 5. De Bruyne regen, basically. They have got a great team, but this tactic, guys, I mean, it is not messing about. We're going to look at the stats on this screen now. So we have gone very attacking. Well, positive down here. In possession, focusing down the left and the right. We're countering. We're also rolling with that standard line because we are Bath. We've got to be somewhat humble. But it's quite good because we can have a player sort of dictating the passing as a DLP, pinging out the long balls. We've got 2 inside forwards in this man here who 34 and 21, Arda Güler 14 and 27, 28 and 18 for Nasri, and 39 and 11 coming in for Blattman. Our right back, the new man, or from last season, 21 assists. The left back, obviously, is the player who is incredibly versatile. Didn't just play left back, but in his time, he got 11 assists as well. So this team, I'm going to say it, with a bit of investment of £60 million, we're going to have the Premier League title in the next couple of years. If Man City starts slipping up, we can get it done. Let's get into it, because I think we're close. It's been a long video, but we can get this done. Then I couldn't refuse because we did have a couple of centre-backs leave and a couple of them were actually fairly decent. Now, we are going to spend quite a bit of money on Antonio Suarez. Don't worry, he did cost me 43 million, but we did make other really good signings. So don't think I've just blown the entire budget on one player and couldn't sign anybody else, because we did bring in other players. 6.86 on the average rating, a decent entry season. We also get João Neves on the free. He is 32, but for that experience to turn us from second to first, this might be the missing piece. He's absolutely broken in terms of the attributes, and he comes in and drops a 7.24 and picks up 13 assists. We are also going to pick up Lorenzo. He comes in as a very good backup striker, probably first team, valued at 85 to 92 million. He comes in on the free, 22 goals in the league. It is absolutely incredible. And the guy has nearly got 20 finishing and 20 composure. And he's quick. You're not going to get much better, but other great free agents include the likes of this guy that is going to be Sagallo. Again, is a goalkeeper. Did we need him? Maybe not. Have we improved on our current goalkeeper? Yes. Have we now got 2 world-class goalkeepers? Yes. It's just luxuries you can have. Now, in terms of players that went out, we are going to lose Alanga, but he's done what he's sort of brought in to do at this club, just push us up a little bit. We were never going to win a Premier League with him, not sounding harsh, but we need a bit better players than that. But realistically, this window has gone very, very well. You can see no other players brought in, 4 new additions, 3 outgoings. The players brought in, I think, are better. So let's get into season 13 and, yeah, well, see if we win the Premier League. Well, you might not believe what you're going to see because, we actually had quite a good Champions League. We get past round of 16, 7-0 over Villarreal. We then go into the quarterfinals and beat Tottenham 5-4 over 2 legs. And we go into the semi-finals and beat Juventus 7-1. And we actually match Man City, who beat Inter Milan 8-2. Now, Man City are the toughest team to beat in the game. And did we beat them? No, we lose by 1 goal in extra time, but that is a very valiant effort. FA Cup, we also lose to Man City in extra time. If we lose the Premier League to Man City, I might end the video anyway. Before we round that, it would not be a Bath City rebuild without another 3rd round exit in the Carabao Cup, this time against Aston Villa. And that leaves the big question. Have we won the Premier League? In season 13, with a new formation, yes, we have. We have won the Premier League, so despite the 2 bottled final appearances, I couldn't care. We win it by 1 point, we win quite a fair few games, and if I'm right in saying, it is going to be this man, who I called a backup. I need to stop doing that. He is going to be the 3rd top goal scorer, Ruggiero is going to be the 4th top goal scorer, the 2nd best performer, João Neves the 4th best performer. I mean, the players we've brought in and the team we've built, honestly, this might be my favourite rebuild I've done, because it has been it took me about 2 days to simulate on and off, so it has been a long rebuild that I hope you have enjoyed. But realistically, the team I have left you with, I would honestly, if I was watching this, I'd go over and get the rebuild file and the tactic, because this team is going to be so fun to play with. I'm going to play with this from now on because, of course, I want to try and win a Champions League. But the team that you've got here is mental. The formation is tailored to it. You've got 3 incredible strikers. You've got great wide players. You've got decent midfield players. Your back line, you've got like 5 good centre backs, good wing backs, mostly on the right hand side. And if you don't like the team, you've also got what, 36 million to go and bring in another wonder kid, if not 2. But that is going to be the rebuild complete at the time of 1 hour and 15 minutes recording. Obviously, it might be less than that with editing, the beauty of technology, but we are now up to a 4.5-star reputation side, and we have got a Premier League, a Conference League as a little addition, Championship, Sky Bet League 2. Yeah, that is something. Where's the Sky Bet League 1 trophy? Oh, we just got promoted, didn't we? He's got promoted. That is why. I thought we got robbed of a trophy there, but that is going to be some rebuild, and that is one we can be proud of. And if you have enjoyed, a like would mean the absolute world. Be sure to subscribe, and hopefully you enjoy the longer format. Let me know, because I will take on another challenge, and this proves I read the comments, because this was commented about 20 times. So hopefully you have enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one.